Companies are starting to open their offices again. What does that mean for you? Guys, welcome back to Money Mind Growth, where we talk about personal finances, investing, savings, and how to be a better version of yourself. So in this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of going back to the office. We're also going to talk about the personal financial impacts of going back to the office. And at the end, I'm going to give my final thoughts and some predictions of what do I think is going to happen in the future. Disclaimer, guys, I'm not a personal financial advisor. These are just my opinions only. All right, so let's talk about the pros of going back to the office. So the number one thing is human connection, especially if you're in a place where you don't have the resources of, interacting with new people. Human connection is something that's very important for us. We all need that personal one-on-one, face-to-face connection. It's a benefit of going into the office. You'll see your coworkers, you'll see your managers, you'll see people, you'll laugh, you'll talk, you'll go out, eat food, and maybe after work hours, you'll hang out. Another pro about going into the office is, let's be straight up, politics. If you want to move up the corporate ladder, it's easier if you're with that one person one-on-one. If you're trying to get that manager position, it's easy to influence someone. It's easy to, put yourself out there, especially if you're in person. To move up your position, I would argue that it's easier to do it in person because you have that human connection. You can go out and have those conversations outside of work rather than remotely. So if you guys disagree, let me know in the comments below. Alright, so let's talk about the cons. And the first one up is, traffic, the commute. Especially me, I had a 30-minute drive from my home to the work office, and there was a lot of traffic. So I left around like 8 a.m. and on the highway, it gets busy. It gets busy, guys. And I live in Atlanta. Atlanta has one of the busiest rush hours in the morning. The more you drive on the road, the higher the risk of an accident. Let's talk about the financials. So if you're like me, you want to know where your money's going. You want to know how it moves. I'm in a position where I save a lot, and that's just because I know where my money's going. So let's look at the financials when driving to your work. All right, so I'm going to pull up my Excel that I have here, and I'll probably put, a screenshot next to me. But I want to talk about 3 important things. So let's look at the financials of driving to your work and what that entails. All right, so the first one is gas from your home to the office. So I have here $20, and that's just based on my experience. Now, the next one up is gas from work to restaurants. There might be some cases where your coworkers or your managers want to go outside and eat. You also have to take into account gas for that. So from work to restaurants, and I have here about like $10. And next to that, I have here the monthly cost, so times by 4. The next one up is eating out during lunchtime. So, for me, guys, there were some cases where I didn't bring lunch, so I had to go eat outside to Pandera or a fancy restaurant. And I have here $40 per week, just to be conservative. And times it by 4, $160. If you're a parent, you also have to take into account daycare, especially the gas to get to there and then to your work. If you're a person who goes to co-working spaces, you have to also include that, especially, right now memberships are ranging between $50 to $100. I could save $280 by not going to the office. I could cook my own food during lunch. I wouldn't have to go to fancy restaurants. Point of this breakdown, guys, is that I want you guys to have a good idea of how your money's moving. What are you paying for? This $280, guys, I could use this, put it in the stock market, index funds, crypto, and get a good return based on the market conditions. The fact is, guys, that there will be expenses if you go back to the office. Another con of going back to the office is, and this is based on my bias, is that you have to deal with micromanagers, cubicles, you have to deal with gossip, coworkers you don't get along with, all that negativity. You'll also have to deal with the politics at work. People trying to move up the ladder, trying to impress their hiring managers. There might be cases where the companies might force their employees. They might try to manipulate them, try and give incentives of going back into the office. Just because the companies, they have a financial incentive. They're paying for that real estate. They're paying for that space. And especially if they can't sell it, it's going to be on their books. So they have the incentive to get people to use it.
This news article just came out. Several Pacific Corp employees told the Oregonian they were caught off guard by the sudden announcement and felt frustrated that they were being given less than 2 weeks to either make accommodations to return to work or take a significant cut in pay. The CEO, Stephen Bird, told employees on Thursday that they announced a company-wide return to office date of June 1st after the county that this company is located in announced that the state's level of risk was going to go down. Starting June 1st, all employees should begin working in the office in accordance with our flexible work policies and office protocols. This means that we will be able to reacquaint ourselves with colleagues and catch up on our shared experiences during an unprecedented time. I think we can all agree that if people want to come into the office, let them. And if people don't want to come into the office, hey, that's cool too, right? They've been working for a year at home doing just fine, and they were praised for doing great, and now suddenly they're punished for that. And I think that is obviously the big issue here. And it's a utility company, right? So everyone's at home anyway. It's not like this company's doing poorly.
All right, so there's 2 points that I want to talk about. My final thoughts. One is that if you're in a position where your employer is forcing you to go back to the office, or there'll be some, or if you don't, there will be some negative consequences. If you need that job to support you and your family, then do you. That's very important, is for you to take care of your loved ones. It doesn't make sense. We've been working remotely 1 year. We know we can do the job without going to the office. Why are companies forcing us to go back? All right, the second point I want to make is that if you are in a position to leave, if you are in a position financially to leave, what will be the expenses of going back into the office? You have to learn how your money's moving. Have a list, create an Excel and just break it down. That's really simple. The key here is to look at your priorities. What are your priorities in life? Are you trying to, grow your career? Are you trying to make your side gigs into full times? Are you trying to save money for, a specific loved one? Look at your priorities. The key here is to look at your priorities. Do they align with going back into the office? What we learned during the pandemic is that employers, companies can let go of people just like this. We've seen layoffs, mass layoffs during the pandemic. That means that you have to take care of yourself. Do not put companies ahead of you. You have to protect yourself, your energy. I don't know how controversial this video is. I don't know who's going to see this, but I just want to make sure you guys know that please put yourself first. Companies nowadays, they can let go of people like that during pandemics, especially if we have another one. My prediction is that now that we're opening up the economy, employers are gonna incentivize employees to come back to the office. And there might be some other extreme cases where they'll force them, either, give them a 2-week notice of, hey, come back, or will negatively impact your paycheck. That is the video for today, guys. If you guys want to support the channel, I'll leave a Patreon link below, and make sure you guys leave a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.